Hey everybody, and welcome. Thank you for joining me. Today, the rains have subsided. I'm taking you guys out to a ball game. That's right, high school varsity softball. That's what we're going to be shooting today, and we're going to be doing three things. We're going to go over three things. Number one, we're going to go over positioning. Where am I going to set myself up so I can make the best images? Number two, we're going to take some photos. You're going to see what I'm seeing when I and take those photos. Number three, we're going to edit some of those photos, and then of course we'll wrap things up after that. So I guess that's four things we're going to be doing. But before we do all that, we got to get the gear. Got to put it in the bag and go to the game, right? Well, we're not going to do that quite yet. Let's talk about positioning. Now for me, well, actually for this video, let's pretend I've never been to this softball field that I'm taking you guys to with me. I've never been there, which up until this last year, I had never been there. So positioning actually starts before I even get to the game. What I do is I get Google Maps. I have a video about that right here, Google Maps and sports photography. I use Google Maps so I can zoom into the field to see what I'm dealing with. And one of the best things about Google Maps is the street view. So on the street, I can actually get down to that view level and see what the fence looks like. Because some fields have an 8-foot fence all the way around. Other fields have a 3-foot fence and then an 8-foot fence in the outfield. That's good to know because you may have to take a step stool so you can reach over the fence and get some shots. Now the one we're going to, if you look at Google Maps, it's a lower fence for most of it. It's 3 foot high, which is excellent, which is beautiful because we can get down on the knees, get those knee pads, don't forget, and get some nice shots like that and still actually be protected by the fence in case there's a foul ball. It also helps me so I can see where the stands are at. Where will people be sitting for the most part so that they're not in my way? Okay, and also so I don't get in their way as well. A lot of times right behind the catcher, batter, there's a good bunch of stands, sometimes off to the sides. Usually third base and first base lines are a free-for-all, so you may want to take that into consideration because you may want to get there a little bit earlier to get the best angles. Once you come with me, because I went out to the field the other day when nobody was there and kind of walked around a little bit. So let's take a look at that and I can talk you through where I will be sitting and then we can move on to more fun stuff. What you're seeing right now, that's probably where I'll be positioning myself. I've got great shots of all the infield, first, second, and third, some great plays there. I'll get a shot of the batter. If I was a little closer to the dugout here, I might miss the batter because of the on-deck circle. Now what I will avoid is straight lines with first to second and third to second because I'll miss shots at second because the first baseman would be in my way or the third baseman. Now on the opposite side of the field, the third base line, I've got great shots of everything, first, second, third, and of course the pitcher. And plus I have a view of the entire outfield. We know where we're going to be sitting now. We got our positioning figured out. Hopefully nobody gets in our way before we get to the game and puts their lawn chair up and kicks their legs up against the fence and kind of ruins our vibe, I guess. So now all we have to do is go take some photos. We're going to make some great images. And to do that, we need equipment. And for this game, Nikon D7200, the Sigma 150, the 500 millimeter lens, 4.5 to 6.3 aperture. So grab your gear, throw it in your bag, get in your car, grab your press pass. Let's go to the game. Hope there's a couple things you noticed in that game footage. One of those would be you have to react quickly. Once the bat hits the ball's gone. It could be going to shortstop, could be going to left field, might be going to third base, might be going back to the pitcher, but you have to be able to recompose quickly from shooting the batter all the way back out here. So sometimes you have to back off on the telephoto a little bit and widen out and then zoom in, but you got to be able to do it quickly. So you always got to be paying attention. And also, I hope you noticed this had to do with listening. When you'd hear the shutter click, I hardly ever did more than like 2 bursts at a time, 2 or 3, maybe 6 every once in a while. I didn't do what they call spraying and praying, where you hold the shutter button down and just, oh, I hope I got a good shot. You need to train yourself to get the good shot within just a couple bursts at the most. All right, so I shot about 429 photos. We're going to take a look at 4 of those, I believe, and let's do that now. First shot is of the batter, because you always want to get the batter. It's slightly overexposed, but if you look at the background, it's lighter. So your camera's going to read a little differently. But if you move away from this and get to the outfield or even the infield, it's going to be a little darker. So you have to be prepared for that. So this being slightly overexposed is okay with me because the rest of the field is going to be fine. So we can just drop the exposure down just a little bit, not much. It was kind of a softbox type day, which means the settings are going to be pretty much the same throughout the entire shooting of the game. What else can we do here? We have to do our profile correction. Kind of gets rid of some problems. And look at that, it's looking pretty good. I could actually go in and do more if I really wanted to, but I usually try and get a quick turnaround on my photos so I can get them out to the public in case they want to purchase them. And every once in a while, I will reach out to local newspapers. These schools, one was a local school, the one was from another city. I'll reach out to both the newspapers and see if they want any. Next up, a nice close-up shot. She's getting ready to bat and she's looking down to the third base, which is where the head coach is, giving her directions on what she needs to do. Not a lot to do with this one. It looks pretty good. Maybe a little contrast, a little clarity. I think I'm going to up the exposure just a little bit. Kind of pull out her face, maybe a little bit of the shadows. And go down to our profile correction. And that right there is pretty good. ISO 800, 1/1600th of a second at f6.3. Pretty nice looking shot. A parent would be happy to have this one. Next up, this is obviously the picture. I just zoomed right in, wanted to get really close up on her. Just like I said, try and crop in camera when you can. 1/1600th of a second, f6.3, ISO 800, 290 millimeters. So I was getting in there pretty tight. Again, this one looks pretty good. I don't know if I do much to this one. Let's do that. Start up here again. Probably bring up shadows just a little bit so I can pull up some of this area. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of contrast, a little clarity. And that looks pretty good. To me, it looks a little like it's not level. So I'm going to level it up a little bit. And if you wanted, you could probably tighten in just a little more, crop in a little more. And there you go. That one's ready to go. The other shot, this is one of those where having a big, huge telephoto lens can be a hindrance. This was a quick steal to third base. As you can see the ball coming in. Here comes, I love the expression right there. That's a great expression. Okay, we can do a little bit of adjustments. We could probably bring up the shadows a little bit. And of course, we'll add a little bit of contrast. And determining contrast and clarity, I just look at the photo, and that way I can decide exactly how much I want to add to it by watching the photo. Let's do our profile correction. And you can't really crop in much. I always do a 16:9 crop. That's just how I do it. If I do that, then I'm losing everything. So I can't really do much with that. Now, if you wanted, I could unlock this and I could free crop it and do something like that. And that's square. I'm not a big square fan. I like rectangle shots. And that's how easy it is to shoot softball. Go to the game, find your positioning, you take some photos, you come back and edit them. It's pretty simple, it really is. Now I've got 425 more photos to edit, so I'm going to get to that. While I'm doing that, you guys leave some comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click that activation bell so that you can be notified of all my other videos. Now, while I get back to editing, you guys grab your cameras and get out and shoot.